people always ask me, how do you connect the land to the curriculum? But I like to turn it around and say, how do you connect the curriculum to the land?
We're trying to promote respect in our communities and pass on our oral and written histories.
We did our pipe ceremony this morning. We prayed to the spirit of these animals. Yesterday they moved the herd to the winter pasture, so these two were left in the summer pasture for us. They stayed behind, so that was nice of them to give themselves to the school and to the community.
Kakisiwew, when I first got here, was a school that I really felt like they were ready for a change in terms of methodologies and practices for teachers.
I learned lots from the kids as well as other teachers. I'm still learning. I don't know. We don't know everything. But I'm always willing to share the knowledge that I do have that's been passed down to me from my father and my mother, and even my mother, my kokum and my mushroom, because we always had them living with us.
It's actually really cool to know, like when someone asks you, do you know how to do this? And you can say, oh yeah, I know how to do it.
As an educator myself, over the last several years, I put a high emphasis on land-based teachings and cultural teachings for that matter. So just engaging communities in that fashion has been a really high priority of my own, but also just of Indigenous people in general.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I inherited a lot of our old traditional teachings and all that, and I found that it was very way ahead of its time.
A very rich experience here, and especially at Kakisiwew, this is the kind of stuff we want to put emphasis on moving forward in education. We are going to use everything, and we'll do it in a good way. We're going to gut it right on the ground too. We're going to do it the old way. We're not going to use tractors and hang them up. We're going to do them as they lay.
It was a great honor, like our school actually, did this for the sake of us, and the sake of the young Indigenous community out here.
I never went through the proper protocol to hunt a buffalo. I never went through a ceremony like that to hunt an animal. I always went into the bush and just killed an elk and left a prayer there, left some tobacco, and that was about it.
I think it's a good learning experience because we only see it in books. But to actually be a participant, it's a very, very thing that you'll carry the rest of your life.
Did not expect to be out there skinning buffalo. But it's really good that they finally have land-based learning here for our kids.
And that was really nice to really engage with the students in another setting. We got to talk to them about different traditional ideologies and ways of doing things from traditional perspective, like in terms of sharing, in terms of belonging in community, in terms of generosity with one another, and that's coming straight from the Circle of Courage, like designed by Dr. Broken Leg down in the States.
I was born in a teepee. I ended up being born, and when my dad returned from the hunt, he detached me from my mother and wrapped me in a little towel and held me up to the east and blessed me in his own language. And he told me that I would never forget my language, because that was the language that I heard when I was first born.
The Circle of Courage is just a teaching model designed for down in the States by, again, Dr. Broken Leg. But again, it's just a model where, you know, you focus on 4 basic ethics, you know, again, just generosity, independence, belonging, and mastery.
Personally, it has helped me, I guess, become a better person, you know, like you follow like the 7 teachings, you always be, you know, respectful of everyone, respectful of everything.
The traditions in education are so important today for our students, you know, in terms of reclaiming who we are. Like, I think of my own experience not too long ago, even as a young Indigenous person in a primarily white school. You know, I had a pretty rough experience in terms of being able to connect to content.
I really enjoy land-based. I feel because we don't do science, we do land-based instead. And I really enjoy that because it's like we're learning about stuff from our culture.
And then when my mom would take me to like feasts or take me to something on the side away from school, that's when I really found myself engaging and learning and understanding why responsibility is so important.
The only time I'll ever step over the animal, but it's just to make sure that I do a good even cut. Watch this fat split, you guys, watch this.
Even me as a young Indigenous principal, you know, just having the kids looking up to us, that's so important for, you know, kids to be able to see themselves in professional roles. For myself in grade 3, like I was told that you'd probably end up in jail someday, you know, and that's pretty tough for a young Indigenous student to be told. And I believed that for a few years. So for me to really achieve, it was a struggle because I had these things told to me as a child. I believed them. So if you think of that, if we can believe something totally horrible about ourselves, if we change our narrative and we tell our kids something really great about themselves, they can believe that too. So.
Having him out there was fun. He's always bringing good energy around us. He likes talking to all the students, which is good, and he likes to get the students involved, which I like that about him a lot. And it's always about culture with him, which is a good thing because that's what we need.
And that is a traditional way of storing them so flies don't get on the meat and stuff like that, okay?
You know, things like that, just really getting back to our old ways of remembering who we are as Indigenous people and not being ashamed of it, but really flourishing with it and reaching, you know, helping our students reach their full potential.
Okay. Okay.
All right, heads up, heads up.
Our sports academy consists of multi-sport and hockey, and so we run a program for grades 5 to 12. Our biggest competition with sport and physical activity right now is technology.
This time of Indigenous education, especially with pandemic, we are forced into change.
Our biggest competition is just getting kids back interested in it, right? Coming off of the year of COVID, right? Not a lot of people did a lot.
You know, Chapways Nation has always been known for, you know, producing good hockey players and good athletes. We really pride ourselves on striving for excellence in all areas of development, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We really like to set the bar too, but especially in that hockey area.
Feet shoulder width apart, and you're just gonna push. Push.
So the Sports Academy can really support our kids in giving them that elite training, showing them what that structure looks like. So when they leave our school and they go into those elite camps, whether it be AAA, Junior A, WHL, and in Ethan's case, National Hockey League, but when they get to those camps, then they know.
Well, I'm really into sports, and I was supposed to go to Notre Dame this year, but because I was too young, I have to go next year.
The physical aspect of the medicine wheel, it just brings so much balance to our students, behavior-wise, along with nutrition.
We cover a lot of different things from our health class, our curriculum, and our outcomes. In Academy, we'll bring, let's say if we're doing a lesson on mental health, we'll bring in professionals and we'll do a lesson on that. We want to promote healthy habits that the students can take with them, especially when they leave school. It's got to be fun. It's got to be play, right? Sport is play, and creating an environment where the students enjoy it and you can see it on their faces that, hey, this is something that's fun and I want to do it. That's what I want. I want that atmosphere. I want that environment. Not something like you have to do this or else you're not going to get a grade. I want you to come because you want to be here and you want to get better and you just want to enjoy it. That's what it's all about.
One day, one incident, I'd like to tell you one incident that happened on our way to school was my sister shot her foot because everyone had to, was able to carry guns to school in them days, and it was not only for protection, but it was for everything that you killed on the way to school, you shared with everybody else at the school when you got there. The big girls always, the boys prepared the animals, the big girls would make soup or they would cook, and we would all share it with everybody. So that was, it taught us really good things about sharing and taking care of each other.
You know, one thing we always notice when you ask our kids, what does generosity mean? And you think of what does generosity mean, and they want to talk about something materialistic. And we know as Indigenous people, it's much more than just materialistics. It's not just giving something that's worth money. It can also be, you know, holding the door. It could be, you know, greeting one another in the morning, just simply looking out for one another.
It teaches them how our ancestors lived and how to treat the buffalo. There was one student, she's in grade 4, I do believe. She told Mr. Thompson, we use the buffalo for everything. Nothing is to waste. We use it all. Even the horn, she said, we use it for cups and rattles. For a grade 4 student to say that, it just made me feel so warm to know that they understand some teachings, but not all.
That's a good question. These are the grandfathers. They are buffalo, they are grandfathers. Very good question, thank you.
We had to share everything that we had. Even sometimes if somebody forgot their lunch at home, they never went without because everybody was always willing to share. We learned how to share, how to go without, and take care of each other.
The elders play a very significant role in our school community. As they are local knowledge keepers, they have the local stories, and those are the stories we really want to dig into, yes, the Indigenous ideologies primarily look over all of Indigenous people, but at the same time, our local stories do, just making sure our kids know that local knowledge, our local dialects, different local plants in this area, and really just engaging our local elders again. I just keep saying local because it's so important that they are from our communities. And but again, building allies, looking at what other people are doing is so important to an Indigenous education, because look what's working for other people, what's not working, and share that and work in a good way. We are all, working towards the same cause.
Look at that. Look at that, no bone there, all bone, no meat left.
Self-identity. After residential school, we hadn't, been able to, I feel like a bunch of the kids are not into the culture, into the praying, into the smudging, into the going out there and doing a proper protocol to go kill an animal.
There is we find that disconnect from, our people, not going to celebrations anymore, but we want to really enhance that again, along with COVID again, but we want to really enhance that, getting back to the land, getting back to our ceremonies and our different ways of life.
Oh, I think that's the most beautiful thing, to watch these children do all those things, and that to us long ago was just a normal thing. But to see the excitement and of the kids skinning, cutting up, finding bullets in the animals, holding the heart and taking a piece of the liver and
getting back to our old ways of remembering who we are as Indigenous people, and not being ashamed of it, but really flourishing with it and reaching, helping our students reach their full potential.
And learning these type of stuff is a good thing at a young age, so we're able to practice these ways when we're older. Implement these ways into our life, our daily life. When we want to go hunting, when we want to go see a mushroom, we want to go see a cuckoo. We would know what to do, how to hand them tobacco, the proper way to ask them for something.
So for one buffalo brain equals one tanned hide you can do.
we need to show our children that are in the school what it was like and in our day, and how much protocol there is that goes along with everything. Even just setting up a teepee, doing the buffalo, all those have hunting protocols.
I felt sad, but at the same time we were using it for something good, and that we were going to use everything of it, and that it was going to be okay, I guess. And it's not sad. It's not supposed to be sad.
The humbleness that they display is just so beautiful. And hunting is not just for the boys, the girls too.
I told them, you can wash your hands after. It's fine. This is what our people did when there was no Walmart, no superstore, things like that. This is how our people lived. This was everything to them. And that was easy. It was easy for them to get their hands in there, pulling the hide, trying to skin. It was nice. I didn't have to try and force them to do it. I just talked to them softly. They're able to do it. Get their hands bloody too. But skinning, hearing that sound and getting everybody involved, amazing, amazing.
We'd never imply our own beliefs or anything upon the kids. We can show them, and then they can, whatever they take from it, that's what's really important, right? So
everyone knows each other here. Everyone knows each other well. If you don't know a person, you'll probably get to know them really well in a few weeks. The teachers here are really nice to us. They don't ever disrespect us. They don't ever do anything mean to us. They're always nice to us, which I like about that.
I wish I would have paid attention when I was young, because there's some things that I thought weren't important, and now they're so important. And our young children, for whatever reason, they didn't have that chance.
We are supporting one another in Indigenous education, and we are making changes, and whatever that looks like, again, build allies, share, grow, and have that growth mindset. You know, if things don't work well one time, don't get discouraged. Try it a different way next time. That's so important, because it's so easy to say, you know what, we're not going to do it anymore. But then all that knowledge would be forgotten about. It's about building, it's about making mistakes, it's about looking at those mistakes and growing. And that's what's so important for Indigenous people. Time and time again, we're so hard on ourselves, but remember, growth, development, and our mindset and our narrative is so important.
And I said, yeah, that's the way it is. You gotta hunt when you're hungry.